Hello, everyone. This is Rex Jerry of beginlinux.com and jerry.com. The title of today's lecture is gl.fedora.2, How to Print from GNU Linux to Windows 7. This video accompanies an article I just wrote called The Linux Week in Review 49. That article deals with printing from a GNU Linux machine to a Windows 7 machine. You can view the original article at http://goo.gl/om7ha. The three objectives we'll hit in today's lecture are: we'll set up a Windows 7 machine to use a static IP address, we'll set up the Windows 7 machine for printing, and then we'll set up the GNU Linux machine for printing. Setting up the Windows 7 machine to be a fixed target instead of a moving target. What does that mean? What I want to do is I want to set up the Windows 7 machine that's connected to my printer with a static IP address. So what I want to do first is I want to log into my router. My router might be a different manufacturer than yours, so I'm just giving you kind of generic instructions. What I want to do is I want to go to whatever tab in my router's settings that sets the DHCP. So on mine, here it is, my DHCP server settings. Right now, DHCP is enabled. The router's IP address is 192.168.1.1. That's important to know. And the subnet mask, because eventually when you want to set up your Windows 7 PC on a static address under this same subnet mask and with an IP address within that 192.168 range. So the router is set up to do DHCP starting at an address of 192.168.1.3. I changed that before I started this tutorial. Originally, it was set up to do it to start an IP address of 192.168.1.2, which is normal convention. Normally, you start one address after whatever the router's IP address is. So what I want to do is I want to push that up to point 3 to make room to make my Windows 7 a fixed IP address at 192.168.1.2. The reason I do that is very simple. A fixed IP address makes it much easier for my GNU Linux computer to talk to that Windows 7 machine. And in the later parts of this tutorial, you'll see that basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my GNU Linux machine talk to my Windows machine at a fixed IP address on port 515 using a protocol called LDP. So you'll go in, go ahead and increment your static IP address. I'm sorry, your starting IP address for DHCP by 1, and then you'll go ahead and save your settings, and then we'll be ready to move on to the next step. Okay, so now we've set up our router. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up Windows 7 to use a static IP address. So the way I'll do that is I'll go down to the Start menu, I'll go to Control Panel, I'll go to uh, under Network and Internet, I'll go to View, Network Status and Tasks, and I'll see Local Area Network here on the right hand side. Okay, when I go to my local area network, I'll go to Properties. It'll ask me to input my administrative password. Okay, so now in Properties, I'm looking for the Internet Protocol version 4, IPv4. So you'll highlight that and you'll click on Properties. And here you'll see yours is probably set to obtain the IP address automatically. So you'll need to change that, and the address you'll put in is whatever static address you want. In our example, we're doing 192.168.1.2. Subnet mask, when we did the last router step, we noticed that the subnet mask for the router was 255.255.255.0. And then, of course, your router is going to be your default gateway. So your router's address is 192.168.1.1. Okay. Now, your DNS servers might be different. Mine, I prefer to use Google as my DNS server. So these are the DNS server numbers for Google. Now mine is already set up correctly, so I'm not going to hit it. I'm going to hit cancel, but you're going to hit OK, and that'll set up your Windows 7 machine to use a static IP address. You've set up the router, and you've set up Windows 7 to use a static IP address. So the next step is to go ahead and turn on the LPD service so your GNU Linux machine can talk to Windows 7 using port 515. So the way you're going to do that is you'll go down to the Start menu, you'll go to Control Panel, you'll go to System and Security. And at the bottom, the option should be Administrative Tools, and then you'll go to Services. Okay, this shows all the services running on your system, or all the services in your system. Some of them aren't running, some of them are. So when you get to the services dialog box, you're going to scroll down and you're going to look for LPD service. It is all alphabetical. There it is. So because I've already done this, my LPD service is already started. But Windows 7 comes with this service turned off by default, so yours is probably going to be stopped. So all you'll do is you'll highlight it, right click on it, and then you'll click on start. Of course, I don't have the start option because mine is already running. Now, the nice thing about this is when you click on start, Windows will make it so that this LPD service starts automatically all the time. So you won't have to go in here and restart it every time you boot your Windows 7 system. The other nice thing about it is the LPD service runs in the background, so it doesn't matter if you're logged on. You don't have to be logged on to your computer for you to print to it. So if as long as your computer's on, nobody can be logged on to it, or any one of the users can be logged on to it. The GNU Linux computer will connect to your Windows 7 computer through port 515, and it'll send the print job to the Windows 7 computer, and then it'll print it to the printer. The last step on the Windows side of the setup is going to be sharing your printer on the network. So you'll go into Control Panel, you'll go into View Devices and Printers, and it'll show all the printers connected to your system. So the check mark means that it's shared. I've already shared it. This is the printer that we're going to use to print from the GNU Linux system. So to check to make sure that it's shared, or to share it if it's not shared, you right click on it and you go down to Printer Properties, and the second tab is Sharing. See, mine is already shared. Now mine is grayed out because I'm not an administrator. I'm logged in as a user account. So what you'll have to do is, this box probably won't be checked for you. So you'll hit Change Sharing Options, and then it'll ask you for your administrative password. Okay, so now I have administrative privileges. So assuming that your box wasn't shared, you'll go ahead and share it. And then you can put in whatever name you want here. I recommend make it something easy to remember, and make it something that is kind of descriptive of that printer. So let's say you have an Epson stylus. I'm just making up a number, 850. Something like that. So when you see that pop up on your Windows, on your GNU Linux machine, it's very clear that that printer is, the printer in your downstairs office if you have multiple printers in your house. Or you could say downstairs printer if you want to call it downstairs printer, whatever, whatever works for you. So then once you do that, you'll hit apply and OK to cancel out. I'm not going to do it because I've already set it up, so I'm going to hit cancel. And you are done on the Windows 7 side. Now I'm over on the GNU Linux side of the house. I'm on my Fedora 17 laptop, and we are ready to connect that Windows 7 computer and print. So I'm going to go to Applications. I'm going to go to Other and Printing. Okay, so this printing box comes up. Now you can see I've already added it, but let's pretend that we're adding, a brand new printer connected to our Windows 7 system. So we're going to click on the Add button, and then it's going to ask me for my administrative password. Okay, then this new printer box comes up. I want to select Network Printer, and then in the drop-down menu, I'm going to select an LPD LPR host or printer. So in the host box, we're going to type in the fixed IP address of our Windows 7 machine, which is 192.168.1.2. In the queue, I'm going to type in the name of my printer, which is MP560, and hit forward. Okay, so then your GNU Linux machine will start searching for drivers. Okay, choose your driver, just leave it selected to select printer from database, and then you'll go down and actually find your printer. So mine is an HP 560, so that's just the manufacturer, HP. So I'll go ahead and click forward. Okay, then I'll have to, in the choose driver under a new printer window, I'll have to actually scroll down and find my printer. So, you know, for HP, it's a really long list. Just for the sake of brevity, let me just pick something else because it doesn't really matter. Okay, so let's expand this out a little bit. Now, what I do is I actually pick the recommended driver, and that's normally the one that's selected. So, you know, let's say your printer happens to be an HP Color LaserJet CP3505. It'll have probably a couple of drivers in there. I usually just pick the recommended one. I never go wrong with that. And then I click forward. Okay, then it might have some other options. I'm going to ignore those. Forward. Okay, then the final step is you'll go ahead and, you know, give your printer a name, a description, and, you know, like a location. Say it's either downstairs or it's in your main office, whatever. And then hit apply. Again, it's going to ask you for your administrative password. Okay. So once you get that printer installed, it'll ask you if you want to print a test page. So I'm going to do that a little bit later. So, but there it is. So I just print a test page and hopefully it'll come out of my Windows 7 machine. So in the last portion of the lecture here, we'll actually go ahead and print and verify the printer comes out. So we're at the final segment. I'm on my Android phone now, taking the last segment of video for this tutorial. So you can see that I've already added the Canon Pixma MP560. I actually added it before I started the tutorial. But I just want to show you that that printer is connected to the LPD port on the Windows 7 machine. So we'll do that by right-clicking on it, and we'll go to Properties. And you see in the device URL here, there you go, LPD://, and then it has that static IP address that we set up for our Windows 7 machine, 192.168.1.2 / and then the name of the printer, MP560. And you can see the additional information there, make and model. The printer is currently idle. So I could hit print test page, but let's do something a little bit more exciting. Let's go ahead and cancel out of this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Firefox. So we're going to print a nice, rich page that has a lot of color, a lot of text, etc., etc. So let me go ahead and open up Firefox here. It's taking a minute. Okay. Let's go to CNN.com because I know that CNN.com is it's a page I frequent a lot. It's very colorful. Okay, so there's CNN.com. Got the president in Egypt there. And let's go ahead and right click and where's the print option here? File and print. All right, so there we go, Canon Pixma 560. And let's go ahead and print it. Let me just print. I don't want to print the whole thing. Let's just print page 1. So I select the print page 1. And we'll hit print. Okay, so our print job is sent. There's our Windows 7 machine right there. Okay, here's our printer coming up. And there we go. Let's see what we have. It looks like two sheets of paper kind of stuck together, but as you can see, it printed beautifully. There's a picture of the Egyptian president, CNN.com. So there you have it. And like I said, I've been using this for over a week now. I haven't had any problems. It prints perfectly every time. The Windows machine doesn't have to be logged on. I could be logged out right now and it will still work perfectly. But of course, the Windows machine does have to be on. Thank you for watching the tutorial. Thank you for reading the Linux Week in Review 49. This is Rex Jerry signing out.